If there is one thing Diego Rivera is known for, it's for his monumental contributions of Mexican muralism. However, his success in this field would not have happened if he had not made a particular important trip to Italy in 1920, spurred by Mexican intellectual José Vasconcelos. After the Mexican Revolution ended in 1920, the Mexican government was seeking to reshape national identity through the arts. The idea was to create an identity grounded in the indigenous culture of their ancestors, while eradicating Western individualism. José Vasconcelos played a critical role in this mission. Vasconcelos was a formidable intellectual and educator who had envisioned great things for the cultural future of Mexico. One of his ambitions was the adornment of public buildings with mural works that would educate the illiterate the meaning of Mexicanism. Prior to working with murals, Rivera had no experience in the fresco art form. After spending several years in Paris, his style was highly Cubist, a style with little ability to communicate the grand ideals of nationalism produced by the Revolution. In 1920, Diego Rivera was commissioned by Vasconcelos to visit the old Italian masters and learn from the fresco murals and techniques. With this visit, Rivera was able to translate his Cubist background into the mathematized use of perspective and three-dimensionality that captivated Renaissance artists like Uccello, Mantegna, and Piero della Francesca. Throughout the trip, Rivera kept a sketchbook where he took close notes of each artist's techniques. His main annotations were concerns about color, composition, and architecture. One of his most elaborate sketches is one after Tintoretto's fragment of Sala dell'Albergo ceiling decoration in the Scuola de San Rocco, Venice. This sketch demonstrates Rivera's concern for color and mediums. In the sketch, Rivera writes, "There is no varnish whatsoever. Perhaps a coat of varnish was added after the canvas was put up in position. Perhaps one worked slightly with glazes in the fresh varnish to harmonize once the thing was done." He also makes note of the color palette. Scattered over the drawing, he writes, "Earth red with accent of pure vermilion, orpiment yellow, cold neutral tone, green warm and transparent, blue-gray, identical to that of Père Cézanne." Color and lighting interested Rivera quite often. In his sketch of Tintoretto's The Three Graces and Mercury in the Doge's Palace in Venice, he writes, "Quite close to the window, a picture in which the composition is arrived by color, determined by the effect and dynamism of the physical light." Rivera also sketches De Sevio's Madonna with St. Catherine in a rose garden in the Museo Civico in Verona. In this sketch, Rivera takes special note in the organization of the composition. In the sketch, he writes, "Excellent surface composition. Birds the size of angels, angels the size of live birds. St. Catherine seemingly feeds a bird while receiving from an angel the palm of martyrdom. Angels' heads are as big as the roses in the mystical rosebush of Stefano da Verona. The Virgin and Child. All is gold outside of paradise. Within, all idea of optical scale is destroyed, and all is in the spiritual order. It is extremely truthful and gentle." He also demonstrates consciousness of the surface area and the architecture around the work. For example, Rivera sketches Mantegna's The Baptism of Hermogenes, located in the Ovitary Chapel in Padua. Rivera notes around the sketch, "Construction where the actual painting of the surface follows guidelines relating to depth, thus creating a surface harmony shot through in make-believe style by the architecture. The frightening relief does not violate the surface." In his visit to Italy, Rivera learned how to approach the wall, a challenging task that muralists faced. He understood that in order to heighten the mural's architectonic function, there had to be a careful premeditation of the space and the content. The second challenge that Rivera faced was creating an image that would persuade the Mexican audience of the legitimacy of the revolution. He understood that if he wanted to convince Mexico, he had to make the idea of nationhood as real as Giotto painted the idea of heaven.